And we're gonna start recording. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us. Thank you for joining us here today. My name is Dr. Ndidiamaka Obadan, also known as Dr. Didi. I'm the CEO and founder of Younger Self MD Medical Clinic Health and Wellness. And today, and we are located in Kennesaw, Georgia. By the way, today we are joined by the amazing Dr. Tolu Olubintan from Living Spring. Well, I'll let her introduce herself. I don't want to kind of, go ahead and introduce yourself. Amazing, Dr. Tolu.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And I'm Dr. Tolu Olubintan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Living Spring Family Medical Center in the awesome city of Mansfield, Texas, not too far from Dallas. And there we help our patients live long and well. Yes, that's what we do.
Well, thank you for joining us, Dr. Tolu. So, this is our, podcast where we kind of relax and share with our audience different things, and we kind of talk about our stories, and we share our tips with our audience. And at the end of the podcast, I'm going to ask you to share something amazing with us that made you feel empowering, or just, anything. I just want us to have a free flowing conversation. So go ahead and tell us, why you do what you do, and tell us a little bit about a story about how you got here.
All right. So, as far as being a family physician, I've always known I want to be a doctor. I actually thought I thought I would do pediatrics first because I like kids. But then I realized that kids, when they're sick, they kick and they fight and bite sometimes. So I was like, I don't know. And then I fell in love with family medicine, watching one of my mentors, watching one of my mentors, and being able to take care of the family, the child, the mother, the father, and sometimes the generation ahead or above. I liked it. I like teaching. I like empowering families, and I thought, hey, why not be a family physician? Fast forward a couple of years, COVID hit 2019. Thereabout, I've always known that starting to practice is something I should do. And I think 2019 was the year of do it afraid. I think that was the movement.
Yeah, do it afraid.
Starting to practice was something I thought was scary to do, but I did it anyway. And because I thought it was something, I knew it was something I should do, and we're here. So that's it in a nutshell.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. So yeah, doing it scared, doing it afraid, and going on ahead to start the practice. And now, just so you all know, she has a very successful practice in Mansfield, Texas. It's booming, and she also has her own podcast that you can tune in and watch, and it's just unbelievable. So yes, so what tips, ma'am, would you like to share with us today? So your practice, are you focused, what kind of patients do you focus on seeing?
So actually, as a family physician, we tend to be generalists. So I would say I tend to treat patients between the age of about 5 till about 90. My oldest is 94.
Oh, wow. That's, yes.
It's most of my patients are, most of my patients are women. Most of my patients are women. I see men too. Usually the women would bring them in. So it's like it's a family practice. So it's you need a primary care, the first point physician for your health needs. Yeah, I'm she.
Yes. Oh, that's good. And as a nephrologist, I'm a kidney doctor. So definitely we need to build relationships with the primary care physicians, and it's a step where we've decided to focus in on one organ as opposed to the generalist, just so the differences between the primary care, family medicine. So like in your case, and the thing about specialists is I've decided to focus on just the adult part of it. And you can decide to do that too. I know that, your range, you said like from 5 to 95, that's a wide range. Oh my goodness. The problems are so different, right? From 5-year-olds to the 95-year-olds. And so what tips, what practical action takeaway tips, which of the cohorts would you like to share? Like, because I feel like the tips for the the young children population will be different from the tips from the older geriatric population. And okay, so my audience primarily, they know that I'm a kidney doctor and we want to try to focus around kidney things. One of the things, there's so many different things that you manage that affects the kidneys, you know, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity. And obesity seems to be a big thing now for many people. Do you see a lot of those patients in your clinic?
Yes, I do. I actually do some obesity care, obesity management in my clinic. Yes, I do. Because sometimes that is tied to a lot of medical conditions. So yes, yes, we do that. And I love the fact that you mentioned, you know, yes, you're a nephrologist, and so the kidney is a big deal. I'll just share one tip, and then I guess you can ask me different questions. But whatever is good for your body is good for your kidneys. And the kidneys, if I remember correctly, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the kidneys are one of the most forgiving organs in the body. You can take a lot of crap for a minute, but after a while, it tries to tell you that it's working too hard. And so the tips that are good for your body, making sure you're well hydrated, making water your drink of choice. Okay, making water your drink of choice is good for your body, is good for your kidneys. Number two, movement, exercise. That helps minimize the risk of high blood pressure, minimize the risk of obesity, minimizes the risk of diabetes, worsening or developing, which is good for your kidneys. And also being careful what you put in your body, because your kidneys have to work to filter through them. And so what you eat is important too for your kidneys. So the three tips, what I say, the first one, hydrate, make water your choice of your drink of choice. Number two, movement is good for you, is good for your kidneys. And three, be careful what you put in your body, because ultimately the kidney has to filter some part of it. So be
You're breaking up. We're having some technical, like sometimes it just keeps breaking up here and there.
Yeah, sometimes I can't hear you either. So I don't know if I can't hear you. So make sure you're listening to your recordings, because
okay.
you're breaking up a lot. So if it's choppy, then I don't know if it's just me, but make sure you're listening to your recordings, that it's not choppy.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do that. We'll definitely do that and try to edit some parts. But so yeah, those are great tips for the kidneys. But I want you to give us specific tips about wellness. I know that you are all about making your patients live well. And so what are the things that you tell them? Give us some take-home points, exercises to make us
So
feel
number one, living long and well. Number one, know it's possible. All right.
possible.
Know it's possible. The same way you're saving money, I'm trusting someone you're saving towards something in the future. You've got to make health investment for that future so you can live long and well in that future you dream of yourself. So it's really important, number one, to know that it's possible, and to know that you've got to work towards making that possible too. So that's one. Number two.
Well, what do you mean by that? Like, can you kind of expatiate, making it, how do you work to make it possible?
Okay. So for instance, you talk to me, you say, you know, I have patients say, oh, where do you see yourself in a year? Where do you see yourself in 2 years? Where do you see yourself 3 years? Oh, I want to be traveling. I want to retire. Well, what do you want to do when you retire? I want to go visit. I want to play with my grandkids. Well,
right.
To do that, you should be healthy. Well, to remain healthy, there are things to do. Just like you're saving money towards retirement, you're making health investments in your lifestyle. What are these things? Movement, exercise, call it whatever you want. I like movement because exercise sounds so like, you know, intense. Move. Move.
Yeah, move. Move. My campaign is the MAD campaign. Have you heard me talk about MAD, about saving the kidneys? MAD, about saving the kidneys. And the M, it stands for move. Exactly.
Move. That's right.
Yeah, just get up and so what tips do people get to use? Like, how do they start the movement campaign?
The movement. So I tell them, try to combine it with things you already enjoy. Like, you like yapping on the phone? take a walk and yap on the phone. You know, just walk around the neighborhood and talk with your friend who talks a lot. You like watching a show? Put a treadmill in front of it and do it. You like dancing? Dance. You know, it doesn't have to be like running in treadmill.
I hear you. Come up with creative ways that make you move and attach it with things that you already enjoy doing. Oh my God, that is worth $1 million right there. Anybody who's watching this, you gotta send start sending the money. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that with us.
No problem. All the tips, and one of the things, this one I'll say that's really, really important is mental health. I cannot tell you how many things are tied to mental health, not being, you know, minding your mind. I teach my patients to be very intentional about what they allow to dance in their mind, thoughts they entertain, things they listen to, people they let influence how they think, how they see life. You got to be very particular. It's not everything you need to watch. It's not everything you need to listen to. You know, people don't stay naturally motivated. People don't stay naturally joyful or naturally optimistic. They have things that feed that. So you have to be careful to feed that so you're empowered throughout the day. You know, so minding your mind is very, very, very important for your health and indirectly your kidneys. Yeah. It's all tied together.
It's directly, actually, it's not indirectly, like if
indirectly, yes.
Directly and indirectly, yes, I completely agree.
And indirectly, yes.
You do need to kind of get, mental health issues. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation because the stigma around mental health, the culture is definitely changing. I've seen that change a lot. Back in the day, it was a shush hush. You know, everyone was kind of hiding and not coming out to make things, to speak about it. And now people are realizing that this stigma is not quite necessary. I mean, anyone who lived through COVID and had to stay isolated for those long periods of time, especially if you had it, should have seen how their mental health changed. I'm sure they can testify that it was not the same as before COVID. And so it's something that definitely can affect anybody when put in the right circumstance. All they need to do is put you in the right environment with the right stressors, and you're going to. So when people are suffering from these mental health conditions, it is because of their circumstances. And, you know, this is why it's a big thing about the social determinants of health that people are talking about nowadays, right? And put more emphasis on it and talking about the disparities in health, as opposed and how those things are actually affecting things like maternal mortality, you know, and all the different things. But that's very important. Mental health and guarding and protecting, preserving your mental health. And you said, make sure that you prevent certain filters, you know, certain things, avoid them. Do we avoid them completely, or do we just, what do we do?
Like, dial it down.
For example, you know, you don't watch what type of news channels, you know, there's some news channels that you turn on and it's like only the negative things going on in this world is what they want to show you. So maybe you should cut back, right? Like you said, dial it down.
Dial it down. And you know, the truth is bad news sells. It gets people more fixated. I don't watch the news. The interesting thing is enough of the bad news gets to me. Like I hear it, the shootings, I hear it, you know, so enough of it comes to me. I don't need to go looking for it. So I generally don't watch. I don't have time to watch TV anyway. It's not something I prioritize. Nope.
Yes, the priority. Yeah, we should definitely make sure that we have our priorities straight. Oh, that's so good, Dr. Tolu. Thank you so much for sharing that. And what is going to be the third tip? Well, you've shared a lot with us already. Actually, we've talked about more than 3. We talked about the kidneys.
Yes, we have.
So you see my audience here. I'm trying to drag out all the good from her. We're calling it 3. She has given us like 20 already. But
I'm still practicing too. Oh man, I would say if I would add one more, the power of sleep. You know, it's so fun. I'm practicing that. I'm not perfect at that, but I realize that I am nicer, more focused, more present when I'm better rested.
Yes, yes, it is so.
So I'm working on protecting my rest time better. Not there yet, but sometimes you don't need new medicine. Sometimes you just need to sleep. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes
Sometimes it's just as
you just need a
boring
nap.
as
Good nap.
taking a nap, right? Yeah, it is. It's just that boring. It doesn't have to be as exotic as being adding another pill. You don't have to take another substance. You don't have to drink any more alcohol or, a couple more shots of caffeine or anything. It's just as simple as going to bed and sleeping. That is so good. That is so good. Thank you. So, what is one thing that you've learned recently that made you feel empowered? Or
Oh,
something interesting that happened to you?
ah, so I think the reality of the fact that I cannot have time for everything. It was so liberating because I'm like, maybe I need an extra hour in the day, maybe my time, like, no. So the fact is, I cannot have time for everything. So pressure is released because I can only do so much. So it's been empowering in that now I realize that I need to master the art of doing what is important for me to do, what is a priority,
Right.
because I cannot have time for everything. Like, it's not possible. So I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to learn how to do what's most important and to do it at the right time. I'm still working through that. I'm not perfect at it, but at least that mindset is there. So I don't put too much pressure on myself. So
Oh,
it's easy
wow.
to say, I can't. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't. I don't. There's no space. I can't. No. Yeah. Hmm?
Yeah, I mean, I completely identify with you. Saying no it sounds so easy, right? But I've also reached the stage where it's like a whole book that I have to write first before I say no to something. And understanding,
Hmm.
the priorities, yeah, back in the day when life was much easier, it was a no-brainer for me. But now you want to calculate, and yes, I completely hear you. And so we have to feel empowered with the knowledge that we can't do everything, and we just have to pick and choose what our priority is. Oh, that is so good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, so we have come to the end of our show. And how can my guests find you? Well, you're all the way in Texas, but this show is going to be everywhere for people to see global. So if they want to reach you, how can they find you? And could you let us know?
All right. You can follow me on Facebook, Living Spring Family Medical Center. We have a Facebook page. You can catch me also on Instagram, Dr_Olabintan. We're also the webs on the www.livingspringmedicals.com. And you can also find me on YouTube, Living Spring Medicals. Just Google me and then you see.
Just
Yeah.
Google the amazing Dr. Tolu Olubintan and you will find out all her information. And I'm definitely going to be putting it down here. Thank you so much for having us. And once again, thanks for joining us today from Younger Self MD. And we're on our website is youngerselfmd.com. And our phone number is 404-566-4623. Give us a call. We're currently accepting patients and would love to hear from you. We're also on Instagram at youngerself.md. Well, until next time, where I'm going to have another amazing guest to share some lovely nuggets. Stay tuned. Bye.